The first arc established the complicated relationship with Sosuke and Kaname. This one now gets into how that has transformed since then. We're going to get into a lot of psychological stuff because this relationship is atypical, and it really has to be viewed through the complicated lens of their psyches to get why they're both acting the way that they are. He has feelings for her, but his discipline and devotion to the mission, combined with a lack of experience on personal matters, leaves him unsure of how to process these emotions. And Kaname Chidori is a forceful personality who doesn't want to show fallibility or weakness, yet finds herself attracted to Sosuke. The tension this provides comes from his drive towards protection, which irritates her, and her excessive responses, which confuse him. She doesn't seem to realize that, as someone who is emotionally inexperienced, that the things that he's doing are the way that he demonstrates affection, even though he would not think of it that way. This is a concept in psychology called sublimation. If you have an urge to do or feel something that you think you shouldn't, you respond in a way that you feel is acceptable. In his case, anything he does to protect Kaname is doing his duty, so he channels his feelings into protecting her. This drives Kaname into a rage because of emotional mismatch. Kaname wants Sosuke to be the love of her life, but because his actions are not presented in a way that conforms to the idea of affection, she feels like she's being teased. He's dangling what she wants in front of her, but every time she thinks he's giving in to her, she discovers it's empty of the emotions that she was expecting. This frustrates her and leads to her lashing out at him. She also engages in her own ego self-defense with reaction forming, the classic idea of the boy who teases the girl that he likes. While there are, of course, always cases of hypocrisy, with reaction forming, there are times when one has feelings that one doesn't want to have, and so reacts with force in the other direction. Think of the rich college kid who loves that she can have what she wants, but thinks that she shouldn't, so she organizes marches against capitalism. Or of the politician who publicly is pushing anti-gay rhetoric, while in private he's having trysts with male sex workers. In Kaname's case, anytime she sees signs that Sosuke is affectionate for someone else, her reaction is to pretend that it's perfectly fine that Sosuke is looking for love elsewhere, and her objections, she thinks, are simply rational reasons why Sosuke is still doing something wrong. It's not about her. He's doing something objectively wrong, and he should know about it. It's why she responds to Tessa's confession that she's also attracted to Sosuke and intends to act upon that Kaname, rather than being jealous or angry, stands there with surprised Pikachu face. It's not something that she's had to actually cope with before in their complicated relationship, so her mind is sort of fumbling for how to protect itself from this information. What this revelation by Tessa does, though, is it disrupts the existing cycle of his acting and her reacting. Yet the tension she brings also pulls Sosuke away from his own defense mechanism. His response to her suspicions is to reveal Tessa's status in Mithril rather than let Kaname think that he has a girl over, even if there were reasons to compartmentalize such information. He doesn't want her to think that he's interested in anyone other than her, even if he isn't acting in a way that a person would typically behave towards someone they care deeply about. He doesn't know how to handle this relationship, but he sure knows acting like he's interested in someone else will destroy it. It also could possibly be considered the second time that he has chosen her over his duty. Telling Kaname who Tessa is could potentially increase the risk to their mission, but it will hopefully protect Kaname's feelings of potential jealousy. What's particularly notable is Kaname's reaction to the possibility that Sosuke is seriously injured or even dead. All too quickly, she's smiling and chipperly sharing her backstory and saying things about him like, he's pretty bad. You wouldn't expect that behavior from someone who merely knew him in passing. And yet here she's acting the same as if Sosuke was off running an errand or something. Why? It's the simplest of all ego defenses. Denial. She's put all the crippling fear and worry for him into a mental box and duct taped it shut, pretending it's not there. Her self-image is about being the master of her circumstances. She shields herself by leaning into that everything is just fine and she can act like there's nothing to worry about. She is in control. She's always in control. And it's only other people and their idiocy that are a problem. That's the reason for the ironic fact that it's the very sight of Sosuke being alive and well that causes her to lose it. Like a little voice inside of her head just whispered to her, "Hey, it's okay. He's just fine. You can let go now." And let the box open and pour all those feelings back into her. She gives herself permission to feel all the things that she felt because she has the relief that he's okay to allow her to endure them. It's a moment where there is nothing shielding the ego, and she can be truly honest about herself and about her worry for his well-being. The arc's plot is a crucible for all of this. A21 is a terrorist group who have gotten their hands on some gear and are making a mess on their way down into irrelevance. I like how this entire mess is the result of the media fucking around and finding out. They double down on their bad behavior with worse behavior. They create this terrorist threat to avoid admitting they brought this on themselves, doxing people who have turned their lives around. It's a reminder that the press has incredible power over society, and it is sometimes not in the interest of them at times to employ that power responsibly. The only hope is that they can keep each other honest. In this case, though, it's effectively the plot of First Blood, but on a huge scale. Kalinin, Sosuke's mentor, has an interesting relationship with his captor. He points out that their actions betray everything that their master tried to teach them. She resents the words enough to inflict sadistic pain on him. Yet in the end, she saves him from death with the last of her strength. I think she did it because Kalinin's words had transformed him into a surrogate for her old master. And that's the love-hate relationship she has there. Of course, there's also more about Tessa, but we're going to hold off on that for when we continue with more of Season 1 of Full Metal Panic.